Thank you very much, Arijit, Ganesh, Udit, and Shantanu for that engaging conversation. From the discussion we've just witnessed, it's clear that the innovation agenda for an organization begins with a robust strategy, the perfect coupling of human capital with technology, and its application across the value chain. Synergies across cross functional teams within an organization and its cultural alignment to change will prove to be a catalyst to success and resilience. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we now move forward to our next segment titled The War Room Diaries. Now, does that make you frown? Well, do not worry. The set of ammunitions used in this war room is technology, and the enemies that we're trying to defeat here are old and obsolete business models, the lack of innovation, and the sluggish pace of transformation. For the War Room Diaries, please join me in welcoming Mr. Soumyadeep Chakraborty, Head Digital Transformation, Vikram Solar, Mr. Mukul Singhal, the Head Digital and CIO Function, Birlasoft, and our moderator for the session, Mr. Shantanu Ganguly. I'd now like to hand it over to Mr. Shantanu Ganguly.
Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Shantanu back with you, and is as part of War Room Diaries where we are in. I'm delighted to welcome two eminent technology leaders from very diverse enterprise organizations. So join me in welcoming Mukul Singhal, Global CIO at Birlasoft. Welcome Mukul. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Shantanu. Thanks for having me here.
And I'm also delighted to welcome Mr. Soumyadeep Chakraborty, Head Digital Transformation at Vikram Solar. Welcome, Soumyadeep. Pleasure having you with us today.
Thank you, Shantanu. Hi, everybody. Good morning.
So, to our audience, we just heard as part of Disruption Decoded, the CXOs share their perspectives around blending old technology with new in terms of continuous need to embrace and progress through the digital journey roadmap and continuously evolve, leveraging diverse technologies, and then and the critical importance of the human capital factor, right? So leveraging some of these conversation points from the boardroom, I would come to our technology leaders and seek their thoughts and insights. So I'll start with you, Mukul, on this point of blending old technology with new. And when I say old, it is there's no intent to sort of demean or disrespect what is old. Sometimes old is gold in many organizations because there is a traditional digital core which runs like a bedrock and sort of fuels the foundation of the organization. So there is no logic of disrupting that, but at the same time, CIOs such as yourself who are in charge of a global enterprise with multi-continent clients and projects and employee base, etc., need to manage a very diverse, dispersed, and heterogeneous landscape and continue to innovate. So, especially so when, say, budgets and resources are not finite. So, tell to our audience a few sort of golden nuggets which has worked well for you in this managing more with less kind of a journey.
Always, that is always a challenge with every industry or any organization or any customer. But yeah, let me share my few thoughts, Shantanu, on this. See, if you see in today's world, especially when COVID has brought all these turbulence, one of the things which has happened is the technology has played a common denominator, okay, and it's played a crucial role like in all these sectors and enabling the entire ecosystem for a continuity of business operations. Because if you really see, the key theme for this year has been the resilience, right? And how can we bring that resilience in? And technology has been the enabling factor for that. Because if you even if you see even if you read the NASCOM reports or anything, the the growth of digital transformation in this era has been much more speedier than like more than 30%. And out of this 30%, if you really see, 80% has been on the cloud platforms or and computing and so on and so forth. And that's why every organization has to be looking forward to be cloud enabled. And how can they be more secure? They can be more cost effective. How can they use the hyper automation to achieve their strategic initiatives? So those things are being worked upon. Now people have really gone, and we have seen our customers gone into a lift and shift kind of a model. But lift and shift kind of a model is good as a stepping stone, one stepping stone, but it's not gonna help. Now people are looking beyond, even people have moved beyond the lift and shift, how they can bring in the transformation. So transformation of the business, all this is because of enabling and transformation of business, how we can ease our customers to do their business better. Today even customers at Buildersoft, they look from us that okay, how can we enable them to do their business better? And that's why we also have looked into like how we can form micro verticals based on the customer need. Now they can be manufacturing customers, licensing customers, X number of customers, right? But we have to enable ourselves first in those micro verticals to enable our customers. Now, to do that, if you see industry wide, there is no, there is a finite budget, but there has been a burden of technical debts. Okay, there is like, as you say, there has been a monolithic architecture, there have been outdated applications, they have been losing old architecture. So it is very important that okay, how do we do within this finite budget? And is there is no one silver bullet or rocket science for that. But that's how we have to use the entire ecosystem, and that's why we are also using the entire ecosystem. The ecosystem is about how do we use our OEMs, how do we use our partners to migrate from the old monolithic to a new architecture, from old platforms to new SaaS platforms, to from just lift and shift to old to the new transformation. How do we operate, transform, and maybe then transfer to our customers? So all those things are being done. Now to enable that, also we have to do a lot of things. We have to regularly run the hackathons within our organization. We have to run the knowledge sharing. We have to collaborate with the partners. We have to run the productivity forums. There are wide array of things that we do to enable the business continuity and reduce the technical debts and bring the tech enablement. So if we do all these things, right, that will help us out to enhance the productivity, uh, carve out a plan that okay, how we can go step by step within that finite budget, but transform ourselves and our customers as we move forward towards the journey. So that is how we have been doing, and that's how it's a evolving process.
Oh, fantastic. I think very, very well articulated. And the three key takeaways I take from what you just summarized are a micro vertical based approach, so which uh, sort of drives deep specialization, which is the need of the day. There's no one size fits all kind of a solution in current digital age. The second point, which you just mentioned about, is about leveraging a larger ecosystem. It is not about trying to do everything all by yourself. Leverage your partners, your suppliers, your customers, and see, okay, holistically, collectively, how you can set a collaborative, sort of integrated ecosystem where resources definitely gets broad based, amplified, and that has a positive effect, even though I personally might be limited in terms of my budgets and resources. And the third factor is engaging uh, a wide spectrum of human capital through towards hackathons or those type of innovation initiatives, and making it as much a uh, cultural activity or a part of the digital culture of the organization, so that it becomes a habit for everybody to think in that curious mindset, digital mindset. How do I improve digitally or innovate something new in my specific job function? Try to instill that as a habit among as many or if not all employees across the ecosystem. So on that context, I'll come to Samadip, and if I think loudly about your solar business, I see, say you have on one side your suppliers, your material sourcing as the upstream set of activities, and there will be technology and digital initiatives around that. Then we come to the manufacturing part, which is again by itself, if we detail it out, there is tremendous amount of technology involvement both on operational side, on IT side, etc. And then the third step is about downstream distribution and retailing, or reaching out the material for installation to your customers or locations. And the fourth aspect is about the life cycle support, right? Again, leveraging technology. So share with us a little, I would say, snippet about how, as head of digital transformation, you were able to drive pervasive innovation across all these functions holistically.
Thank you, Shantanu, for that wonderful question. And could not have agreed more with Mukul when he mentioned, if I may articulate in my own language, that today's chief digital officers of chief information officers are no shorter than at the middle of an epicenter of a storm. All right. Now, your customers are changing, right? The situation can even become more daunting when you have got your customers across different sectors. So very similar to our case, when you have either one way the manufacturing, where you are building or manufacturing the solar modules. On the other hand, you have got your own service component, whereby you are engaging with the customers to maintain a particular solar plant, or maybe you are setting up a solar plant yourself. So in one hand, the customers are basically catering to a service kind of sector, your service that you're providing to them. On the other hand, it is a manufacturing whereby they're buying your panel. So in both the cases, their requirements are quite varied, quite wide. On the other hand, as you rightly pointed out, when you are distributing this product, or you're how you are reaching out to the customer, whether you're participating in a bid or whether you're getting or approaching a particular client to take a contract to maintain their solar plants, this is quite different. All right. And then again, as we all came to know that, of course, the budget is also not unlimited. All right. So you need to work your way out through this storm with a particular limited budget. All right. And keep in mind, when you are looking at this entire problem and trying to solve it, you are also have two more major dimensions. Number one is the taker. You may come up with a very innovative solution, but how are you articulating the business value? How compelled your stakeholders? It can be your internal stakeholder, or it can also be your client or the customer who is being incentivized or being excited enough to go ahead and take up your solution and use it. All right. So these are the multiple challenges which are actually making our life very, very interesting. All right. So when we are actually looking at this, okay, I think the key is twofold. Number one, how you are bringing the bridge between technology and the business together. Okay, in one hand, you have a strong business problem. On the other hand, you are bringing the technology to solve it. How you articulate the value, how you prioritize the business problem, how you are carrying out the Murphy's law, maybe, the 80-20 principle, that which are the 20% innovative project I can take up, and it will consume 20% of my budget, maybe, but that will give me the 80% of it. All right. So I think to find out that combination, to find out that optimum uh, composition of the recipe, that becomes the key to success to the digital heads or the digital transformation heads or that particular position. The other part is the right orchestration of the human capital. As we have already touched upon, now this human capital can happen from two aspects. Number one, the people who are the doers and the people who are the takers or the users. You know, today, globally, not only about the IT technology, also about the exponential technologies, the adoption rate, a lot of organizations struggle. Okay, you have a great solution, you have a great data driven solution and component and the business problem to solve. But on the other hand, once you build it, the pathway from that particular point, from lab to the actual field, that needs to happen. So these are the two areas where we continuously keep working. Okay. The only other aspect, Shantanu, that changes the gamut a little bit is because we are talking about manufacturing facility as well, and the IT and OT connectivity is a major part over there. So we are not only talking about the artificial intelligence, we are not only talking about the other data sources, we are also talking about something like Industry 4.0. So where the machine level data are also getting married to the business operation related data, which is either SAP or Oracle or ERP. In our case, it's an SAP house, and how they're bringing the business intelligence and business insight. So I think these are all the things which keep hitting us every day. And we, the head of either digital transformation or global CIOs, we try our bit to solve them and pass through the storm, as they said.
Excellent. No, no, I think you summarized it's fantastically, and in a shortest possible time, touched upon various aspects of, especially that Murphy's law. I think hits us on a daily basis in some form or the other, and we need to continuously leverage all our sort of armory of digital ammunition that we have to keep solving and continuously evolving. I think that's become the order of the day. Uh, so I think changing the discussion a bit towards workload and multi-cloud. So Mukul, if I may come back to you, seeking your thoughts about how, in your experience, say diverse workloads and multi-cloud orchestration and automation, how to manage, because again, there is a lot of legacy, there is a lot of new solution building blocks which are continuously getting added in that same common ecosystem. So how to make sure that things don't become too complex, we still are able to simplify, but at the same time embrace and adopt what's relevant for the business to continuously evolve.
Absolutely, Chanel. Let me touch base upon a couple of things, and I think let me pick up a few things that Soumyadeep also mentioned. In today's environment, okay, so the business and the technology, I would say, they're increasingly intertwined. Okay, so a business strategy drives the technology strategy or vice versa, right? And that's why it is, and that's what Samadhi was referring to as well. It is very, very important, and therefore the organizations are accelerating their efforts towards the IT/OT convergence, particularly into the manufacturing operations, right? And therefore, we as an organization, or if we have to do all uh, initiatives, industrializing or AI initiatives, we have to look at, okay, how can we make our operations more intelligent? And we are using, okay, machine learning to make our operations more intelligent, managing the data of the machines rather than humans, right? So uh, that is how we are trying to do, and it's not just limited to the operational data. If we are talking about the security, becomes a major concern nowadays when we talk about this IT OT convergence and all this machine data and all that. Is how we ensure that, okay, the increasing security concerns are also being leveraged using, or being addressed, I would say, using machine learning, NLPs, or maybe through automation process. Even they are being mitigated today by using blockchains. Okay, with this advanced security on decentralizing the platforms, allowing business to improve their efficiencies and minimizing the risks. So those things are being used, and for that to happen, there are multiple ways. Definitely, there are digitally integrated platforms which are on cloud. There are technologies like on low code or no code platforms which are being used, and because these platforms are on multi clouds, right? It becomes very, very important that, okay, how we bring that adoption of a multi cloud strategy. Even if you see in India, lot of companies, maybe I would say more than 60% of these organizations are expediting or adopting the cloud computing, and especially because of this pandemic situation, or because of this remote working environment. This has acted as a catalyst on the cloud adoption, and has led to, and everything cannot be solved in just one cloud platform. It has to be a multi-cloud strategy, where and this helps because to organizations to be more nimble, to be more agile, and the cutting the provisioning time, and reducing the disruption risks, and scalability. Now, having said that, when you land up into a multi-cloud, surely that leads to some complexity, right? And there has to be, now there have definitely been orchestration platforms which are enabling these multi-cloud strategies, right? And if you because of these emerging technologies areas, whether we call it AI, ML, IoT, RPA, this entire paradigm shift of digital, there comes a need of orchestration. Uh, if you see, if I look at our organization, okay, we, and especially when we are serving a lot of manufacturing customers, or life sciences customers, and so on and so forth, they are being ERP platforms, and we are modernizing those ERP platforms. We are reducing the technical debts of those ERP platforms. We are using the low code or no code platforms to do end-to-end automation of processes, and we are, whether we're using RPA or some other thing. But yes, that's what people need, that's what business need, that okay, how can the real-time insights can come into play across this physical and digital world, where people can learn from the employees learn from the knowledge, can take decisions based on knowledge rather than just on experience. And technologies are becoming so interdependent nowadays, and the innovation, and they are so coherent solutions, that the need of those platforms are coming into play. And that's why we are all working towards the power of these, or leveraging this power of the digital technologies, with the help of these advanced analytics and the holistic enterprise transformation that we are doing. So that's how we have to look at and see every business, every process is different. You just mentioned that okay, you can't measure anything in the one scale, but the underlying principle of a manufacturing industry or a healthcare industry, that doesn't change. So that underlying principle have to be the same. So that's why we are working on those underlying solutions that can enable the overall experience, employee experience, user experience, shop floor experience for all these industries. That's how we work on.
Excellent. So very aptly articulated. I think create a baseline, common foundation, and then build micro verticals, as you previously also mentioned, which adds to that 80-20 rule, which Somadeep previously also mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Mukul. Somadeep, if I may come to you on a little different topic, and which I'm sure will very strongly resonate with our audience, which is pan-India IT leaders. See, three aspects I'll bring in here. Number one is diverse digital technologies, leveraging which technology leaders sort of use them as ammunition to solve problems and evolve the business, evolve the organization. The second aspect, which I'm sure all of you in I would say partnership with your board members want to measure, is innovation, right? So how all these technologies and their usage leads to innovation, which is something a little out of the ordinary, which is something disruptive, which is something little path breaking. And then those innovation collectively across the organization leads to the third part, which is business outcomes, which is your revenue increase, which is your enhanced customer experience, which is your new client acquisition, mining your existing clients. It could be around your employee experience, engagement, all that. Now, how to connect these three pillars, how to measure, especially for technology leaders, they more often than not take lot of technology initiatives, but often they struggle to connect the results of these initiatives to innovation or innovation KPIs, and then link those innovation KPIs further to the business results part of it. So uh, if there is anything which you can share as a few sort of good practices or useful tips that has worked for you in stitching these alignments together, that would really help our audience.
Thank you very much. I think you are absolutely spot on. Okay. Today, when we are talking about transformation, we talk about digital transformation. But what happens is that invariably, the digital leaders, we are all by default the evangelist of the technology. So sometimes we get really, really, it turns our head and we get very quickly mesmerized by the new technologies which are coming. And somewhere the transformation, the major element of business transformation, that gets lost. When that gets lost, the problems are inevitable. All right. So everywhere, if we look around, we'll find that there are some, in one way, there are some solutions which are meeting some business result, but the business is not very happy. On the other hand, it's a path-breaking technical advancement, but the business is saying at the end of the day, my adoption or usage, or as a result of that, the business outcome is a fraction of what I anticipated. On the other hand, business is saying that, hey, this is a great solution that I can think of. Can you please do it? Either that cannot be done, or maybe that is just a process tweaking. And really, technology has got very limited activity in that. We come across all the three different types of problems. Any transformation leader must be facing this kind of problem every day. Now, what is the solution to that, Shantanu, as you asked? I think the key lies in the problem itself, all right, if I may call it. The real planning activity for any digital project or digital initiative per se or transformation program should not be discounted. So whenever you are taking up any particular solutioning, you should understand the problem well. And it cannot be done by only the business person, okay? Excuse me, but it can be done by the digital leader in partnership with the business. All right. So if I'm talking of delivering my product in a way to my customers, we should ask why we should do it. That is reducing my delivery time. That is reducing my response time to the market crisis. That is reducing my product response to the market requirement. And at the same time, that is increasing the agility of my supply chain. So these are the end 4 KPIs or 4 dimensions that I'm looking at. A lot of times the technical leaders stop there, okay? And that's not the right approach. We then need to ask, what is going to be the X business impact? When we are talking of the business impact, for each of these dimensions, we need to find out what is my annual benefit to the business. Sometimes it may be in the form of getting additional customer, and you can assign a percentage of that to the organization. The bottom line contribution you can take as a number. You can also do a cost saving. Okay. Another problem, often business thinks that the cost saving is the only tangible business value. That's not again the right way. Okay. So it should be a mix of all these 4-5 aspects. It can be directly impacting your customer. Also be, if I follow a balanced scorecard kind of method, it can also be your business process improvement, or it can be direct impact on your top or bottom. All right. So then you cumulatively, you take all these dimensions together, then you bring that, okay, so this is going to be my impact of the particular solution. Then you need to look at the total cost of ownership for that particular solution. It is not only about development, it's also about the infrastructure. And that's where, falling back on what Mukul just said, in terms of the cloud, in terms of the OpEx model, that comes and plays really a good contributor to this entire ecosystem. So they have the overall implementation, then, and the overall TCO, the total cost of ownership. Many projects you may find out in the year one, it may not be a great project to go ahead with. All right. Though pandemic has changed the equation, today business is talking about, give me a solution which will give me the ROI or payback period of 6 months, not even 1 year, all right, or 3 months even. If you build some model, in-house, the data science models, that may give you the better impact. But then you need to look at a horizon of at least 2 to 3 years and see how year on year that is giving you the business. So once you get these 2 or 3 things in place, then only you can evaluate under that glass each and every digital transformation initiative. You can take an informed decision at that point in time. Remember, one, even if how fascinated we are by the digital technologies, how fascinated we are by what is happening around in terms of technology advancement, we need to remember that the underlying fulcrum is the business benefit. If we can keep that fundamental fact in mind, I think none of the digital transformation initiatives will fall flat. There will be great ROI out of it. Over to you.
Excellent. I think business outcome oriented technology transformation. I think that's where set the goal first and then figure out the technology options as your means to achieve that business outcome goal is what, in short, you really elucidated and then summarized really well. So I think I have an eye on the clock. So last quick 30 seconds to each of you. And this is purely maybe from your diverse, deep global experiences. One quick essential guidance that you think has worked well for you and something you would want to share with our audience. So over to you, Mukul, first. One essential guidance for our audience, if I may request you to share.
So this is the things have changed for all of us. As I said, also the kind of pandemic that has brought the degree of urgency. So redefining all our strategies for our business continuity. And I would just say that the way we have observed, or I have observed for us, for our customers, is today the survival of the fittest will sail. And how do you say the survival of the fittest is that how do you prepare yourself and for your customers uh, to meet the need and demand so that they can be operationally efficient, they can be nimble, and they can be resilient. If we are defining our business models, redefining our business models in this way to address it, then I think that is how we will have to look at that. Okay, how we can um, be part of this. I would not say a decade. I would say now the situation has changed, and I would say kind of a decade, and then we can be part of this new world, which is a virtual future. So if we are enabling ourselves and our customers, I think the organizations, the industries will look into it, will have a better sale, and they can ship through in a much resilient way. That's how I will sum it, Shantanu.
No, thank you. Thank you. I think that's very essential. Learning from our customers, being nimble, fit, agile to sort of deliver back with that much more, I would say, prowess and precision and intelligence and thrive, not only survive, but thrive for the long haul
Yeah.
is what I would take as what you just summarized. Somandeep, anything you want to add from an essential guidance standpoint for our audience?
Absolutely. 2, 3 quick points. Number one is that always keep your focus on the business and the impact of the initiatives. All right. So if that basic method of assessing your technology initiatives is there, I think the chances of failure reduces substantially. That being said, no transformation is without the pangs of failure. Sometimes we admit to we fail to admit our failure, but the greatest organizations, they celebrate failure because a number of those winning points and the key learning points emerge out of the failure. So don't get shy away from the failure. Out of 10 initiatives, there may be 2 or 3 that may not meet the business result. All right, but that's okay. You are making an impact for the remaining 6 or 7. And majorly, the third point would be that always ask the business about their critical problem, something that is actually ruining their sleep at night, and then try to solve those kind of fundamental problems with the help of technology and not the other way around. All right, so we should focus the business on the business, tell the business, ask the business about the problem, and then try to resolve that with the help of the cutting edge technology which is there, because there are many of them together today, and we can very easily leverage them to resolve that. So our main fulcrum should be business problems and to resolve them.
Wonderful. So, to our audience, Somadev Chakraborty and Mukul Singhal joining us today in War Room Diaries and sharing diverse perspectives, insights, thought processes, experiences, what has worked well for them, what are some of the mistakes or pitfalls to avoid, what are some of the best practices to implement, not only for daily operational excellence, but also for the long haul. I think brilliant set of pearls of wisdom, as I call it, is what we could all gather from this session. So thanks, Mukul and Somadeep. Truly privileged to have you as part of this War Room Diary session today, which is part of the Boardroom Unplugged session. Thank you again. And to our audience, coming up in a short while is another very interesting session. So stay tuned and don't go away. Thank you.
Thank you, Shantanu. Thanks for having us here.
Thanks, Mukul. Thanks, Somadeep.
Thank you very much.
Wow, that was indeed fantastic. I'm sure all of you cherish the diverse inputs. Thank you, Soumyadeep, Mukul, and Shantanu for sharing with us how intelligent workloads hold the promise of simplicity, agility, and control, thus enabling IT leaders strategize towards responding to changing business needs and value orientation. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's change the game and hear it from esteemed business and technology leaders like yourselves who will join us and share their innovation experience and success stories. Let's hear real life India specific innovation examples from eminent customers who've joined us today. For this conversation, I'd like to welcome Mr. Asit Makhija, Head Global Delivery and Service Excellence, SISL. Joining the conversation with him, we have Mr. Chandra Kishore Prasad, the Executive Director, RailTel. And to moderate the conversation, I'd like to welcome Mr. Shantanu Ganguly once again. Over to you, Shantanu.
Good day, everybody. This is Shantanu Ganguly, CEO at Strategink, and I am back with you in this session titled Profiles in Success. And here we talk about practical, real life technology implementation examples which have successfully made positive impact to business. And in sharing this very real life use cases, success stories with us, we have two eminent distinguished guests in the panel today. So Mr. C.K. Prasad, Executive Director of RailTel. Welcome, Mr. Prasad. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you and for having me.
And the other eminent distinguished panelist we have today is Mr. Ashit Makhija, who's Head Global Delivery and Service Excellence of SISL Infotech. Thank you, Ashit, for joining us today too.
Thank you, Shantanu. And thanks for having me here, and good day to everybody. And hello, Mr. Prasad.
Hi.
Thanks, gentlemen. I think the audience today have heard so far what goes inside a boardroom in terms of decoding the uncertainties, how to maneuver unpredictability, and how to still drive business resurgence, followed by a discussion with the technology leaders about how to leverage technology to drive business transformation, growth, innovation, etc. But the proof of the pudding really lies in the taste, in the eating part of it. So here we in Profiles in Success, maybe I would start with Mr. Prasad, if I may request you to tell us a little summary synopsis of the great work you've been leading at RailTel, synopsis about your technology-enabled growth journey, if I may call it.
Well, good morning. RailTel is one of the largest neutral telecom service providers in the country, and we have close to 60,000 kilometers of optical fiber backbone network, and with close to 20,000 kilometers of access network in the cities, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 cities combined. So backbone plus access works out to around 80,000 kilometers. What we did in the last 2-3 years was that we transformed RailTel from a telecom company to a ICT company, organization which provides information communication technology, by modernizing our data centers and building a cloud infrastructure with 2 availability zones, regional centers, and deploying the entire cloud orchestration management platform. And currently we are offering, we got empaneled with MIT as a CSP, cloud service provider, and under the government community cloud category. So that is something which we are proud of. And we have already many customers who are using our services.
Excellent. I think that's I would say phenomenal. I would say technology-led transformation as a information and communications technology service provider, and the diversity of capabilities and innovative services the RailTel team today offers, and not only restricted to PSUs or government departments or railways, but across diverse industry verticals. I think that's truly aspirational for all of us. Ashit, if I may come to you and seek a little business and technology-led business problem solving point of view from you. You see, very often in our engagements with business users or business organizations, we see that business organizations have unique business challenges and sort of volatility in current circumstances, a lot of disruptive and economic volatility to manage. And in solving those, not always off-the-shelf products or solutions meet or precisely meet the expectation or purpose. So how does SISL Infotech decode a customer's business need and align the right fit solution and services?
Yeah, Shantanu, I think you're right in saying that mostly there is no single or a point solution which really satisfies all the needs of the customer. So I think what matters is that we listen very intently to what the customer's needs are, and in this case it was RailTel. So you listen to all the said and the unsaid needs, and then you start building a solution around it. Then you start looking at what is the best of breed technology or technologies which are there, which will complete the solution and solve the problems which we just heard. Once you do that, then you also have to ensure that various pieces of technology are seamlessly working well with each other and integrate well with each other. And really speaking, it's not only a today's problem that you solve. You actually have to be future ready with the solution. So we have to look at all these things, and as I said, the secret lies in understanding the problem which the customers have.
Awesome. Let me maybe move a little specific to Mr. Prasad's set of initiatives and transformational projects. Mr. Prasad, if I may seek your permission to talk a bit about your, I would say, marquee e-office and digital workplace project. And if you could help us with a bit of what was the mission, business purpose of this project, and what made you choose, say, hyper-converged infrastructure as a sort of solution bedrock for this project, and then once you have implemented it, what transformational business value are you able to derive out of this?
Well, Shantanu, prior to the digital workspace, the e-office implementation, we started working on a couple of POCs with the railways. One was the unique medical ID card, which was a project which was to be implemented across all the zones and the divisions of Indian Railways. Usually the railways, they operate under the division setup, and then there's a zone headquarter which has jurisdiction over the division. And each of these units were working in isolation. They used to issue their own medical cards to the employees. And once the employees get transferred, then basically he has to be issued another card by the other hospital or other unit. And it was not applicable across the railways network itself. So when we did this POC for unique medical ID card, Umeed, codename Umeed, and we could basically prove it to the railways, and railways immediately they took a call on that to scale it up across all the zones and the divisions of Indian Railway across the country. And we did that implementation. So that gave a lot of confidence to railways that RailTel can basically take up this type of projects. And since we have our telecom network, we have last mile connectivity reach, we also had a data center, but that was on a virtual compute platform. It was cloud was not deployed at that point of time, but we took that call and we did that. And similarly, we did basically for a couple of other organizations like Coal India and their subsidiaries. We implemented e-office digital workspace solution. So that was the platform where we could train our people, and they have done it. There was a good learning in our team, IT folks, and that we leveraged going forward. So when we got this project for e-office from Indian Railways, and we decided that there were a couple of requirements from railways that we had to go fast. The delivery has to be completed across 50,000 users in phase one. And seeing that we have to basically with the same IT team, and I cannot really scale the team because recruitment process, other things take some time in the government setup. The idea was we went ahead with deploying the cloud infrastructure. And when we wanted to do that, we decided to go with a hyper-converged infrastructure where compute and storage, they come integrated, not the conventional way where we have compute separate and we have the storage separate and network separate. So we wanted something because to roll out fast, this was an option to us. And at the same time, the HCI is more green in terms of power consumption. And the form factor also is quite smaller compared to the form factor what you normally get in a SAN on compute and servers and stuff like that. So that was the design decision we took, and discussion with various OEMs and also with SISL. And we started deploying the HCI. And at the same time, we had to basically also deploy the cloud infrastructure, the cloud orchestration tool, the cloud management platform. And going forward, we have to start delivering these services unit by unit. And HCI really helped us in basically doing that. So we were also implementing the cloud infrastructure, cloud deployment. At the same time, we were able to give the services, the application itself, we were able to roll out and onboard the users and give them training, and so that they can start using the application. Because it was right from the manual system of files to electronic file system, and with the workflows, which are again digital workflows. And we could complete the project within 6 months, though the target was 1 year. And that gave a lot of confidence to the customer to basically give us the phase 2 and phase 3 of the implementation for this project. And the phase 2 came during the COVID time, and we could implement very fast. And it really made the customer productive during that time when people are working from home. And it really came handy. The cloud infrastructure was something which we could scale up very fast, and we could deploy the productivity gains were there for our own IT folks. They could deliver the services and elasticity of the cloud we could use to onboard more and more customers in phase 2 and phase 3. So today we have got around 1.5 lakh users on this platform for e-office. Definitely this has given the cloud infrastructure has given us now the leveraging this cloud infrastructure, we can now basically build a lot of services on top of it. So what we did is, apart from infra as a service, we started building backup and replication service. We started building database as a service. We also took applied for MIT empanelment. We got empaneled as a CSP and under the government community cloud program. And now we have a lot of other applications which we have migrated to cloud. In fact, from UTI and some of the customers who are there, they have currently on Tech Refresh, who are our Polo customers, have also moved to cloud. So like now everything is through cloud, not on a conventional way of doing things on a virtual infrastructure. So that is really helping us to deliver faster and basically accelerate the pace of digital transformation for various of the customers and our own captive use.
Excellent. I think brilliantly summarized, Mr. Prasad. Thank you so much for this. So what started with initially targeting, say, about 50,000 users and the business needs around speedy rollout, a scalable, agile solution, which gives you the flexibility of scaling up and down basis business need. You eventually, and something which is energy efficient, which consumes minimal power and enables your organization to comply to the green initiatives. You chose HCI as a technology, eventually Dell Technologies solution and integration services from SISL Infotech. And eventually you end up supporting now 1.5 lakh users, right? So 3 times more users in this platform. This has, you could complete this project in a record 6 months as compared to estimated initial 1 year that you had laid out for it. So ahead of time deployment and supporting 3x count of users and enabling with a platform-based approach, which is now the bedrock for launching new value-added services, not only for your in-house requirement, but for also diverse peer PSUs and other sister concerns of Government of India. So brilliantly summarized, sir. So Ashit, maybe if I can come to you next, considering your leadership focus on service excellence, how do you see what customers today can expect as unique sets of value points when they see Dell Technologies and SISL Infotech joining hands together and offering them solution and services?
Yeah, so Shantanu, I think Dell and SISL Infotech have a long-standing partnership, and we together have deployed many successful solutions for many customers, like this one that we're discussing for RailTel. Dell definitely has confidence in us, in our ability to deliver and ability to successfully deliver the value which is expected from the solution. And similarly, you know, we have a lot of assurance when it comes to Dell Technologies, both from the fact that it's a top-end technology. You know, it will seamlessly integrate with the existing infrastructure which the customers have, because it's got even in the case of the current solution, there was an API integration which was required, and we were pretty confident that our technology solution which we had proposed along with Dell would cater to that. You know, we also have the assurance that in case we get stuck somewhere, then Dell will leave no stone unturned to help us. You know, not that we don't get stuck, not that we wouldn't have had issues for this kind of a technology deployment, but the fact that we were able to, you know, along with Dell, deliver this much ahead of the scheduled time is definitely you know, coming from the fact that Dell supported us wherever there was any issue. We did a lot of proactive planning with Dell. They were proactive team reviews and project reviews with Dell. So we could we knew what was coming ahead, and we jointly solve the problems. So I think it's a very symbiotic relationship which we have with Dell, which helped us deliver successful solution like the current one.
Excellent. And gentlemen, I have an eye on the clock, but quick last one for Mr. Prasad, if I may ask you. You have engaged and continue to engage with diverse technology solution providers and service associates. Is there anything, top 2-3 things that you see that that stands out for Dell Technologies and SISL Infotech as your growth partners?
The top three, I'll say the trust. They have been, the teams have been really very open and candid about we were talking about various options on standard infrastructure, converged and hyper-converged infrastructure. So they had shared all the pros and cons with us, which enabled us to take a decision on that. Secondly, responsiveness. So they're quite responsive in terms of the timelines and of the deliveries, in terms of understanding the requirements. So this was the second thing, responsiveness. And third thing is support. So definitely we could expect the support anytime, wherever is required, with the integration of the entire the hardware platform, and also with the hardware and the other hypervisor layer and stuff like that. So we always found them as a part of extended part of our team, and always ready to basically come and support us wherever we needed. I would like to share the experience with SISL and the Dell teams during the implementation phase. We had a timeline, and we had the initial success to be really brought out and presented to the customer, so that we can get their confidence built, because this was a first of its kind project. And when we had ordered the shipment of HCI infrastructure on SISL, we were looking at a faster delivery, and we, since the delivery supply chain and other things were taking some time, we requested them to make a partial delivery so that we can get going with a certain amount of servers, and we can start doing unit, let us say a particular division, and go install it and start implementing that. And their SISL really rose to the occasion, and they met those requirements which of part shipment, and delivering to the site directly, so that we could start the installation, and we could quickly, I think within a period of 2-3 months, we were able to deliver major 2 units, and at the same time we could expedite, and that is how it has helped us to really deliver the project well ahead of time, in a record time, in fact.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, Ashit,
so yeah, I think RailTel as a customer, and especially Mr. Prasad and his team, I think they have been very clear on the requirements. They have been very clear on the expectations. And whenever you would go to them for anything, I think we used to always have a very logical and technology-based discussion, which really helped the entire implementation team to a large extent in expediting the whole thing. So there were no ifs and buts when it came to anything logical. They were very accommodative of situations, and any large and such complex solution deployment, there are bound to be issues, whether there are manpower issues, whether logistics issue. But I think we got all the help and assistance from RailTel for successfully deploying the solution.
excellent. So with that, I think we will wrap up this Profiles in Success conversation. Thanks once again to Mr. C.K. Prasad, Executive Director, RailTel, and thanks to Ashit Makhija, Head, Global Delivery and Service Excellence, SISL Infotech. Thanks immense on behalf of our audience today for sharing your curated insights and golden nuggets, as I call it, towards choosing a particular technology, how it addressed your business problem, what are the business benefits it is flowing back into your areas of operations. And thanks, Ashit, for bringing in the customer advisory, the understanding of business requirements, alignment, fitment of right solution and services, that angle of conversation. Thanks, gentlemen. Bye for now. Thank you.
Thank you.